Welcome to MTG Ectoplasm, your home for spirits and spirit decks in the world of Magic the Gathering. On this episode, I want you guys aware of an up-and-coming deck that's starting to make moves at MTGO. And since paper's starting to come back, I want you guys ready there too. Do I got you curious? I hope so. So let's get this thing started, shall we? Let's go. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me on this episode. I'm your host, White, aka D Blanco, a medium that wears an extra large. You can reach out to me on Twitter at MTG Ectoplasm. Please follow. Also, I got an email, mtgectoplasm@gmail.com. Let me know how am I doing. Am I doing a good job, a bad job, or should I not quit my day job? And finally, mtgectoplasm.com. You can find my latest and greatest episodes posted there, and if you want to donate to the show, I humbly would appreciate it. And also, you can sponsor this episode there. Now, speaking of sponsors, this episode is sponsored by Rec Productions. Rec Productions is an awesomely disruptive crew of digital media and lighting production enthusiasts. They produce killer audio and video content for businesses, artists, and anyone who wants to be heard and seen. For more information, visit their website, www.repproductions.com. That's productions.com. Recproductions.com. Check them out. Now, it's kind of funny about these people. I do a show with them Friday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern on Twitch. Just go to look for Rec Productions on Twitch, 9 p.m. Eastern, Fridays. I do a show there with my friend, my boy, James. It's called The Weekly Catch-Up, starring Handsome and the other guy. You know who the handsome guy is, right? I hope so. Now, not that the pleasantries are over and done with. We said what we had to say. It's now time to let you know about this up-and-coming deck that I found out about 2 weeks ago. There was a gentleman. He was interviewed by the Merfolk Master himself, the Maharachi, my senpai, the guy that knows anything and everything about Modern. That's Nichachu MTG. He was interviewing this gentleman named Mr. Siri MTG. And what happens is that this gentleman is playing a Hardened Skills Affinity deck. Now, you're going like, come on, Dwight. Come on, let's be serious. Affinity has been dead for almost a year. Come on, man. And Hardened Skills? Hardened Skills is barely being played. Well, let me just tell you, ladies and gentlemen, this guy, okay, he's a master of this deck, and he's been making 5-0 victories left and right. He's displaying it proudly. And there's a lot of things that he said that really shocked me, stupefied me, and I'm like, are you kidding me, dude? And as a person who provides you content, there was something that caught my ear, and I wanted you aware of it. He was saying that this deck can take down almost every single top deck there is out there. And the fact that tribal players, for example, ourselves, that use the Spirit Tribe, it's nothing. Our deck means nothing to him. It's not even a thought in his process. Now, I'm bringing this up not to sit there and say, go after him, get the pitchforks and the torches. No. He's speaking humbly because every master has to have a little bit of that arrogance. Has to have that bit of like, you know what? I'm the best there is, the best there was, and the best there's ever going to be. Because that's what it takes to be a master. What I'm going to do today, ladies and gentlemen, is that I'm going to show you, I'm going to explain to you what the deck is. Explain to you the best matchups it face, the worst matchups, and how our deck can beat that deck, hands down. And it doesn't matter if you face this individual or you face anyone else that's playing that deck. Because I'll be honest with you, ladies and gentlemen, it's a mean, nasty deck. And the only reason why we haven't seen it is because people aren't aware of it. They're poo-pooing it. They're laughing at it. It's like Hardened Skills Affinity, please. Please, that's a passe deck. Affinity hasn't been a thing in years since Hardened Skills. Come on, Dwight. No, but I'm not going to lie to you, ladies and gentlemen. It's mean. It's mean. So let me break down the deck. All right? It is officially called Hardened Scales or Hardened Scales Affinity. It's running. Now, I'm going to go with creatures first. It's running 1 Spellskite, 1 Steel Overseer. Now, I know most of you are like, come on, Dwight, you just said this is Affinity. 1 Steel Overseer? Let me just tell you, that card means nothing to this guy. To this master, it meant nothing. He was like, it's not a flex card, but technically it's a flex card. I was like, are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Steel Overseer? Affinity? What? Okay. Let me keep on going. 4 Arkbound Workers. 4 Hangerback Walkers. 4 Walking Ballistas. I know what you're saying now. Like, oh, now I hate this thing. Now I hate this deck. Let me keep on going. There's 1 more creature left. 4 Arkbound Ravengers. Yeah, that's pretty bad. That's bad. And I haven't even broke down how this deck works yet. Now, let me go to the just generic non-creature artifacts. He's running 1 Throne of Geth, 2 animation modules. Now you're like, please, Dwight, what the hell? No, you need to be aware of that. It's not a key card, but it is a card to keep an eye on. 3, the Ozolith. Yep. The card from, Ikoria. The Ozolith. Then you have 3 Wielding Jars. Why would we not want a Wielding Jar with a whole bunch of artifact creatures, especially for 0 mana? Now, in instance, he only has 1 Snakeskin Veil, and in sorceries, he only has 4 Ancient Stirrings. Then finally, he rounds it off with enchantments, 4 Hardened Scales. Now, if this is the first time you've heard of Hardened Scales, let me read you the card. It's 1 green. If 1 or more +1/+1 counters would be put on a creature you control, that many +1/+1/+1 counters are put on it instead. That's an important card. That's an important card. Just so you know, it's Hardened Scales. The deck is named after it. It's an important card. Let me get to the lands. 1 Phyrexian's Core, 1 Pendelhaven, 1 Nurturing Peatland, 1 Urborg Tomb of Yawgmoth, 1 Blink Moth Nexus, 1 Swamp, 2 Forest, 4 Landwar Waste, 4 Darkboar Pathway, 4 Ink Moth Nexus. Notice how I emphasize that card. 4 Landwar Reborn. Hopefully you're starting to see what's happening here. If you play Modern or have played Modern in the last 3 years, you know Affinity, you should know how Hardened Scales is. You should see, just me saying these words, go, this is kind of mean. Let me finally go to the sideboard. You got 1 Seal of Primordium, 1 Graft Digger's Cage, 1 Pithing Needle, 2 Relic of Progenitus, 2 Assassin's Trophy, 2 Dampening Spheres, 2 Gem Razors, and 3 Fatal Push. And then finally, of course, why not, since everything in his deck is 2 mana less, Loris of the Dream Den. You know, I know, we both know, we all know. He's using this as a companion. This isn't a good card, ladies and gentlemen. This is a really mean card, and I'm just happy there's just one. Because at each turn, he can cast 1 permanent with a converted mana cost of 2 or less from the graveyard. That's important here. That's really important. And I'm going to explain to you why. Because these are the cards that you need to focus on when playing against this deck. Loris of the Dream Den. Because the fact that he can sit there and sacrifice and bring back creatures or regular artifacts or whatever permanent that he wants. Okay, your goal, ladies and gentlemen, is to exile this bad boy. The next card, Hardened Scales. So these are 2 cards so far. You're like, Hardened Scales, why? Because it gives creatures +1/+1 when they come in with a token. The Ozolith. Why are we worried about the Ozolith? Because say if a creature dies and has a +1/+1 token, guess what? That +1/+1 token doesn't die with the creature. It goes onto the Ozolith. And the scary thing about the Ozolith, at the beginning of your... let me read it again. At the beginning of combat on your turn, if the Ozolith has a counter on it, you may move all counters from the Ozolith onto target creature. So say if that creature had 5 +1/+1 counters, when it dies, it goes onto the Ozolith. Now they decide to attack. I can remove all those beautiful 5 little +1/+1 tokens, put it on that creature, and now it's dealing damage. There's a card that I mentioned before that I haven't got to yet. That's really scary with this Ozolith concept. The next card I want you to keep an eye on is Arkbound Ravanger. And why? Because this creature, this 2/2 artifact beast, sorry, not 2/2, 2 mana cost beast that comes in with a 1/1 comes in with a 1/1 token on it. Sorry, misspeaking left and right here. The card reads, sacrifice an artifact, put a +1/+1 token on Arkbound Ravanger. If the whole entire deck is pure artifacts, you're telling me I can sacrifice 5 artifacts. Arkbound Ravanger gets 5 +1/+1 tokens. He attacks. It dies. Now the Azorius has 6. Why? Because it came in with a +1/+1 token. Kind of scary. Kind of scary. And then don't forget Hardened scales. Because the fact that I sacrificed a creature. So say if I sacrifice an artifact, I get a +1/+1 token because of Arkbound Ravager, and I get an additional because of Hardened scales. That's 2 for 1, baby. And if you sacrifice 5, that's 10. That's 10 +1/+1 tokens on that creature. It attacks, it's an 11/11. That's scary as hell. And the one thing I was like, and it's in the land section, ladies and gentlemen, is Moth Nexus. A land. Why? Tap one generic mana, Moth Nexus becomes a 1/1 blink moth artifact. Creature with flying. And it has infect. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have not been playing Magic in less than let's say 2 years, and you're unaware of this infect ability, all your opponent has to do is 10 points of infect, you lose the game. And I just showed you how easily, with Arkbound Ravager and Hardened scales, you can easily get to 10. And the funny thing is how Moth Nexus is just a humble little 1/1 flying creature. It flies over almost every single deck that are out there, except for one. And we'll get to that in a second. Now, the best matchups, this master and Mr. Siri MTG stated, were control decks. He can easily destroy control decks. Mid-range decks, without a problem. Tribal. Heliod Company. Currently the best deck in Modern, and he has no problems beating it up. We struggle a little bit with it. I'm going to tell you it's not the best matchup for us. But he has no problem beating the crap out of that deck. And also creature-based decks. He has no problem beating them down. Kind of funny, look at our deck. I'm not going to say it's mid-rangey. It's more of a tempo deck. But it is tribal, and it is creature-based. Bad matchup. But there's a huge but, and I love buts. And I cannot lie. I'm going to get to that in a minute. That goes along with what I stated before. Bad matchups. Creatureless combo decks. Does a bad time with. Amulet Titan. Everybody has a hard time against Amulet Titan. Tron. Well, we have a hard time with Tron too. Jund Death Shadow. That's one matchup we got great against, or over 50%. I'm gonna say we're at 55% there. He sucks against it. Why? Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is the reason why those are bad matchups. Because of creature removal. He can constantly beat down those creatures left and right and destroy them. If we can sit there and remove Loris, put him in the graveyard or remove him from the game, whatever we got to do to kill Loris, we have a standing fighting chance. Now, fortunately, I appreciate Nichachu MTG, the modern master, the merfolk master himself, because I asked the question. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the question that I asked him to ask this master of Hardened Skills Affinity. What is the tougher matchup, Azorius or Bant spirits? And which spirits give your deck a hard time? Now, I know many of you are sitting there like, well, Dwight, why would you ask such a very broad question? Which spirits give him a hard time? And why such a narrow question of which version of spirits bothers him, Azorius or Bant? Well, if you've been playing spirits for quite some time, you know there's a little bit of difference between each one. But Mr. Siri MTG decided he's going to answer the creature question first. Without taking a breath, he stated Spellquiller and Skyclave Apparition. These are the spirits that bother him the most. And why? Why do you say? Is because when Spellquiller enters the battlefield, or when it's cast and decides to exile that person's spell that he casted, think about it, ladies and gentlemen. If they're casting a Hangerback Walker or a Walking Ballista and our Spell Queller goes away, they get a 0/0. It's dead. It's gone. It's bye-bye. Same thing with Skyclave Apparition. Oh, you know what? We're going to exile that creature that you have on the battlefield. Oh, you kill my Skyclave Apparition? Now you have a 0/0 spirit, blue spirit on your no 0. Oh, that's right. 0/0s can't live. Sorry. And that's how we go around destroying their deck, just by those two creatures. Now, the ones he specified, the certain cards that scared him the most for us attacking or dealing with, was Hardened Skills and the Ozolith. If we somehow can remove the Ozolith or Hardened Skills from the game, we have a better chance of undermining their deck and going for the victory. He also stated that the hardest thing about facing spirits is that we don't put one spirit in on the battlefield one at a time. If we put two at a time, three at a time, and especially if we have a lord on the battlefield, it makes it really hard to kill with the Walking Ballista. Makes it very difficult for him to destroy our creatures with the Walking Ballista. He hated the fact that we had rattle chains that can flash in immediately, give one of our creatures hexproof, and he does nothing. Absolute nothing. He's sitting there twiddling his thumbs. If he's twiddling his thumbs with rattle chains, just imagine what he can do with Drug School Captain. He's worried about lords. And if we have Drug School Captain, that's a lord with hexproof that gives the rest of our board hexproof. He's doing nothing. Twiddling his thumbs. He may say he has the best matchups against tribal decks. I say yes. Yes, you do. Not against spirits, pal. Nope. Nope, not at all. Now, he decided to go after that. He's like, well, you know, when dealing with Azorius and Bant, the deck that I have a hard time dealing with is Bant. And, you know, it makes sense. It makes tons of sense. And why? Because of Coco, Collected Company. Unfortunately, I'm a huge fan. I love Azorius. Huge fan of Azorius. But more recently, the way that Modern is being used, Bant, I have to say, is the better build currently. And why? Because of Coco. Because of Collected Company. The fact that we can sit there, take one card for 4 mana and vomit out creatures that can basically disrupt their board state or make our creatures bigger, where we just sit there and smash them over and over and over again. You can't beat that. A one card just vomiting onto the battlefield and they can do nothing. Absolute nothing. What do you think, ladies and gentlemen? Am I wrong in thinking, like, it's a meat deck? It's a great deck. You know, if you wanted to play this deck, ladies and gentlemen, and you hate doing math, don't pick it up. Don't play it. Don't do it to yourself. But, you know, I look at the current players, the people who are 5-0ing all the time in my shout out section that are using the Bant build. And in their sideboards, are what? 2 Pithing Needles, 2 Path to Exile, 2 Force of Negations, 3 Dampening Sphere, 3 Burn Forged Tenders, and 3 Rest in Peace. You know what, ladies and gentlemen? I understand why it's that way right now, but let me give you a couple clues just in case if this deck does officially take off, that ends up becoming something. I know some of you are going to poo-poo this card, but I want you to think hard about it. And that's Unsettled Mariner. Just think of what Unsettled Mariner can do. The fact that he has to pay mana to do what he wants, I feel bad for you, because you're basically tapping yourself out. Another card, Stony Silence. Not saying we need either one of these cards right now. I think we have enough space right now, just but the fact that we have Supreme Phantom with the big booty, the 1/3, that pumps up our creatures, Drog School Captain that provides hexproof and pumps up our guys, Rattle Chains that pumps up our guys, Selfless Spirit that protects our guys. I have enough belief right now. I have enough belief that our current build state, especially in Bant, can hands down take down this deck. Now, I brought up one card in particular in his deck that I want you 100% aware of, because it's easy to miss, and that's the Moth Nexus. I want you aware of that. Because I know we're so quick to go, oh, we're going to attack with our flyers and not hold any flyer back to protect our board or to keep it for defense. Because we're like, you know, Skyclave Apparition, it doesn't fly. You know what? I'll hold it back for defense. That's what we generally do, right? if you see Ink Moth Nexus on the board, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're not just in there going, I'll poo-poo it. I'm going to poo-poo that card. Because remember, if they sacrifice all their sacrifice all these artifacts, and then the Azorius gets all those +1/+1 tokens on the beginning of in the beginning of combat phase, they can put all those +1/+1 tokens on this Ink Moth Nexus. Game over. Game over. I don't want that to happen to you. This is a mean and nasty deck if you're not ready. The secret, when game 1, you go in and smash as quickly as you can. Show no mercy. Game 2, be a little reserved, but still show no mercy. Go after the Hardened scales. Go after the Azorius. Make him hate the fact that that Arkbound Ravanger is a piece of excrement. Make him hate life. The fact that, I'm going to Skyclave either your Walking Ballista or your Hangerback Walker. Think about how nasty Hangerback Walker is in this deck. This is one thing I didn't even mention. When the creature dies, it gets +1/1 colorless Thopter artifact creature tokens that fly for each +1/+1 token on this. So, Hangerback Walker dies. Let's say I sacrifice it to the Arkbound Ravager. Okay, Arkbound Ravager gets +1/+1 token. Hardened scales on the play. Now it gets 2. Say that the Hangerback Walker had what? 3? It was a 3/3. Oh, that dies. Guess what? I get 3 little 1. They get 3 little 1/1s. Oh, those 3 little 1/1s go on to what? Oh, that's right. It goes on to Azorius. Beginning of combat, that goes on to another creature per 1. Hardened scales. Boom, boom. It keeps on getting bigger and bigger. And then they put it on the Moth Nexus, and there you go. Victory. Or if not, they try to put it on the Walking Ballista, the Shoutouts, right between the eyes. Victory's ours here. This is our victory. I'm not going to say this is an easy victory, but the victory is ours here. If you play it right. And ladies and gentlemen, I believe in you. I 100% believe in you. Now that I said what I had to say, it is now time. That's right. It is now time for the shout-out section. I'm looking for the best of the best, the cream of the crop, the crème de la crème. In Pioneer, April 27th, first place with an Azorius build in a Pioneer Royale, Nar Gentfoot. I'm not going to try to repeat that because that's brutal. Nar Gentfoot. Okay, I just did it. April 29th, went 5-0 with a Bant build in the MTGO League. KVZA. April 29th with a 5-0 build with a mono blue snow build in an MTGO League. Mazuku 94. Thank you for proving that Spirits is the best deck in Pioneer. Now in Modern. April 27th, went 5-0 with a Bant build in an MTGO League. The one, the only, the incomparable Dr. Queller. April 4th, 5-0 with a Bant build. You see, ladies and gentlemen, Bant's doing something here in an MTGO League. Phil Online. Thank you, gentlemen, for proving that Spirits is the best deck. That's right, the best deck in Modern. I believe in you, ladies and gentlemen. If I didn't say your name this week, Keep on fighting. Keep on trying. I promise you, eventually, I'm going to say your name, and I'm going to say it with pride. Because not only I believe in you, the spirit community believes in you. I believe the people on Reddit and the Discord believe in you. This is a brotherhood and a sisterhood. Ladies and gentlemen, there's no doubt about it that we can prove over and over again. They're trying to tell us right now that Spirits is a tier 2 league, a tier 2 deck. No. I'm not accepting that. I refuse to accept it. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank my sponsor this episode, Rec Productions. That's right, Rec Productions. This is an awesomely disruptive crew of digital media and lighting production enthusiasts. Let's like this. Produce killer audio, awesome video content. If you're a business person or if you're an artist, or look, if you're just looking to be out there and just want to be seen, ladies and gentlemen, this is the place to go. Go check them out. Look at their website, www.recproductions.com. That's right, www.rec, the word rec, the letter D, productions.com, Rec Productions. And finally, like I said before, you can see me live on their Twitch channel Friday, 9 p.m. This Friday, 9 p.m. on Twitch. Just look for Rec Productions there, and you'll see me with the weekly catch-up with Handsome and the other guy. Now, one more I have to say. Follow me on Twitter. Email me at mtgectoplasm@gmail.com. And go to my website, mtgectoplasm.com. You know what, ladies and gentlemen? I had fun. I had a great time. And you know what? Make your opponent say, that's bullshit. Good night, everybody.